Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic and a puzzle today that's been recommended to us. So it wasn't sent to us by Calvin Ball, but SUDOKU solved it and said, you have to have a go at this. And that gives Calvin Ball a debut on the channel. Welcome, Calvin Ball. And it's called Psst, I'm in the Loop. And it's a form of sandwich puzzle, not one I've seen before. And that reminds me that, of course, last month's Patreon reward was the Hollywood Lunchbox, themed on a large number of sandwich Sudokus, and this month's is themed again, Japanese sums, and that's by the Paint by Numbers Institute. It's called Caroline's Halloween Adventure. Give it a try on Patreon. Much more approachable than last month, I promise. And each puzzle has the payoff of a picture at the end, so very much worth a try, along with all the stuff that we have on Patreon on a day-to-day basis, well, a month-to-month basis. And of course our apps on a much more infrequent basis, but we have released a number of apps, including our very first ever sandwich Sudoku, and with all of them you can while away many a happy hour trying out the puzzles, so please give them a try. Again, you can find your way on the links under the video, as you can to Sven's SUDOKU Pad, and our merchandise, like this wonderful mug with our logo on and bobbins on the back. Hopefully I won't need to show that to the camera today, but there's every chance I will. Right, let's have a look at the rules of Calvin Ball's Psst, I'm in the Loop. Oh, I will also mention we have been streaming, so do check out the VOD of our stream on Tuesday, which was about, well, it was Sudoku. It was the puzzles from the 600k pack, which is on Patreon, of course, free. Anyway, let's have a look at the rules here. Normal Sudoku rules apply. We're going to put 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Yes. Now, draw a 1-cell wide loop of orthogonally connected cells. So this would be a loop of orthogonally connected cells. Oops, nearly got it wrong. Might look like that, perhaps. The loop may not touch itself, not even diagonally, so we couldn't have had this loop, because you see it would have touched itself diagonally. Please don't comment that this cell and this cell are touching each other diagonally, because you couldn't have a loop that turned a corner without a relationship like that. That wouldn't make sense. So the meaning is fairly clear if you just think about it. Yes, the orthogonally connected cells in this loop means that it goes only horizontally and vertically as it moves, not diagonally. Now, the loop acts as a German whisper line with all adjacent digits along the line having a difference of at least 5. So on this loop, that cell and that cell would have to have a difference of at least 5. Now, the clues outside the grid are a form of sandwich clue called loopwich, which indicate the sum of the digits between the first and last loop cell, the sum of the digits sandwiched between the first and the last loop cell in their row or column. So say in this column where there's a 22 clue, the first sandwich clue digit, the first loop cell was there and the last one was here in this column, then these 4 cells would add up to 22. And between those loop cells, both loop and non-loop cells, between those 2 crust cells, are summed. So, yeah, let me just be clear about that. The loop might go this way. Let's say it did that. I'll just green that in. Now, that is the first loop cell, and that is the last loop cell in the column. And the 22 sum would be in those 4. Even though a couple of them are on the loop, that's fine. They're not the first or the last. So that's how that would work. And that's it. I am a little puzzled that we only get 6 clues in this puzzle and 1 given digit and nothing else. I suppose we've got the German whisper line. That's probably going to do some heavy lifting. It's intriguing that this is going to disambiguate. Let's give it a try. You can start on the puzzle link under the video. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. Let's get cracking with the 40 row. So, okay, I get to share a secret with you because you're one of my favourite people. And the secret is that every row, column and box in a Sudoku always adds up to the same sum. And we know the answer. It's always 45. Brilliant secret, but it's because the numbers 1 to 9 sum to 45 and they appear in every one. Now, in this row, the sandwich in between the first loop cell and the last one is 40. Right, that's good. That means that the total of the first loop cell, the last loop cell, and any cells outside the loop, we'll call them outies, is 5. Well, that can't be 3 separate cells in the same row, because 1, 2, and 3, the minima, add up to 6. So only the first cell and the last cell are, well, they are the first and the last loop cell, and they add up to 5. That's either a 1, 4, or a 2, 3 pair on the loop. Now, there's a 35 clue. That's the next highest. High seems to be our friend here. And again, we subtract that from 45, we've got 10, and that is the sum of the loop, the first loop and the last loop cell, the crusts, and any outies. Okay, can this one be on the loop? Let's consider column 1. Okay, I mean, I don't know what that meant for row. Oh, hang on. Of course, I do know something. 5 is not allowed to be on a German whisper. And the loop is a German whisper, isn't it? So we will colour 5 what? Blue for not on the loop. Green is the loop because it's whisper. That's why I used green. And now there is something interesting. Now I've thought about the German whisper on the loop a little bit. Yes. The loop goes orthogonally. So I'm having lots of thoughts now. This is great. The loop could turn like that, but it never moves diagonally. Now, why is that interesting suddenly to me now? And that's because we've established these are low numbers on the loop. Now, if you were to imagine the grid covered in, coloured like a checkerboard, that's what I'm trying to say. So one set of diagonals was all black and the other set was all white. Let's make this group grey, just to understand the point here. These low digits on the loop are on grey. Now, I'm going to tell you that any digit on the loop is low if it's grey, but it's high if it's white. Now, is that a magical deduction or is that just common sense? Well, somewhere in between, I think, because this loop goes from, because it only moves orthogonally, it always goes from grey to white. And German whisper, I haven't told you things I know about German whisper. The first of which is that 5 can never be on it because there is no neighbour to 5 that would be allowed. The second of which is that therefore numbers alternate between lower than 5 and higher than 5. You can see that any two numbers lower would never have a difference of 5. So we're always alternating low to high, and that's the point here. The third thing I know, by the way, is that 4 and 6 can be difficult to place because they mustn't have, a 4 mustn't have two neighbours that see each other, or they'd both have to be 9. But why am I so excited about the alternation in this puzzle? Because the loop is always going to move from grey to white in this schema. And it's always going to move from low to high, and then high to low, and then white to grey. And the point is that every time it moves, it transitions from one colour to the other, but it also transitions from one polarity to the other. And every time it hits a white cell, that cell is high. Every time it hits a grey cell, that cell is low. Now, I'm going to take away the colouring that I've just done, because that's just going to confuse me when I want to create green and blue. But I am going to bear these diagonals in mind. And the first thing I'm going to look at is this cell. If this cell was on the loop, it would have to be high, because it is, if you count down here, low, high, low, high, low, high. Now, it could be, but, okay, column 1 is the problem. I see this now. And I also see something I saw a moment ago, which I'm going to tell you about. I don't know how the loop gets out of this cell to the northeast. It's obviously got to either corner right here, in which case it must fill those cells, or here, in which case it must fill those cells. Either way, this one is green, is on the loop. That one is green and on the loop for the same reason there. You've got one of those patterns must prevail. And the next digit then is 6, 7, 8, or 9. Now. I told you a moment ago, well, I babbled a moment ago that 6 and 4 are difficult to place on a German whisper line. That is going to be very true on this German whisper line today. Sometimes you can get a line going something like that, a German whisper line, which hardly ever restricts 6 or 4 from being on it, because it can always have two neighbours that are a 9 if it was a 4. Here, no, this one is going to have two neighbours in the same box. That can never be 4. Same is true there. So in fact, since we know they add up to 5, that's a 2-3 pair. These cannot be 6 because they've got a neighbour there, and wherever they continue, it's either there in the same box or there in the same column. So they can't be 6s. And that's going to apply to a lot of cells on the line when we figure out where the loop line is. There are places where you can have a 6 or a 4. If the loop went like this on the corner, you could, because the two neighbours don't see each other. But there's a lot of places where you can't. Now, I've got more to say. In column 1, this clue of 17, I don't think that the line can visit column 1 twice. Remember what the rule is. The rule is that we're adding up every digit between the first instance of a loop cell in the line and the last one. For the line to visit column 1 twice, it would have to be something like that. Like it would have to go in once and come out, and that takes 3 cells. Go in another time and come out, that takes 3 cells. Now this is the minimum distance apart that the first and last cell could be if it came in twice. Then we would be adding up these 5 cells. Now 5 cells can add up to 17, but 2 of them are going to be high. There's going to be a high one in that pair and a high one in that pair. Those would have to be at least a 6 and a 7 in any circumstances. That's 13. The lows in those pairs would have to be a 1 and a 2. That's 16. And you'd still need another low that would be a 3. That's 19. So there's no... Okay, so I'm getting all excited and shouting, but there is no double visit of the line to column 1. That's impossible. So the line only visits column 1 once, and it includes those 2 cells. And I think we might be able to work out how long the line is. If it visited, we can't just count 2 cells because they could only add up to 12 at a max, maybe 13 in some circumstances. So we're adding at least 3 cells. If we were adding 4 cells, we would be alternating high and low. And again, well, okay, we'd be adding 6 and 7 and 1 and 2 at a minimum. That only adds up to 16, but I don't think there's anywhere in this column where we can achieve 17 or 16. Because we would need to use a 6. Let's imagine we were using... I'm trying to eliminate the possibility of us adding 4 cells. They would have to include at least a 2 and a 1 as the 2 low digits. That's 3. So then the high digits, of which there would again have to be 2, could be at maximum 14. They would have to include a 6. But these are in the green region. Where could you put a 6 in this green region that could exist? In fact, in the perimeter, you will never count a 6 in such a sum, because the ones you're counting when you've only got 1 visit to the perimeter are those that are on the straight and narrow. They aren't turners, and therefore they can never be 6. They've always got a neighbour above and below. So the ones that we'll be counting in this perimeter have a line neighbour both above, which might be a crust, and below, which might at the bottom be a crust, but they themselves are never crusts, and therefore they're not corners, and therefore they're not 4s or 6s. And therefore we're not adding 4 cells, we're adding 3. And therefore we have a length of 5, and it's either those 5 or those 5. And I'm going to colour these two green and mark them up as 1, 2, 3, 7, 8 or 9. This is in box 4, and its two neighbours will both be in box 4, so it can't be a 6. Now, either we're going to add low, high and low, or high, high and low. Now, if we add low and low, 3 and 2 are the max, that's 5, plus 9 is 14, that's not enough. So we're adding these 3, they're crusted or bound by these 2. This one is 1, 2, 3 again, it can't be 4 because wherever it turns we'll see that cell. In fact, they do both turn because we know these are the crusts. So we've got this much line now created. Let's sketch in some cells where the line now can't go. Yeah, this is fine. This is right. Okay. This digit is 7, 8 or 9. This one could be a 6. We've reached our first cell where we could put a 6 in. These add up to 17. I'd forgotten that. They're not 9 and 8. So they must have a 7 in one of those cells. It could be, this can't be a 3 because that would be bounded by 8 and 9 by the whisper rule, and that would add up to 20. That's too many. 7, 2, 8 would work. 7, 1, 9 would work. So I can't actually go beyond that. I've also got a 1, 2, 3 triple in this column. And 7 has been used, so everything else is from 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Now, I finally determined, and this was the whole point of doing that, but I learned much more than I expected, that this digit here is not very low. Now, remember that in this row, the outies and crusts have to add up to 10. 5 cannot be amongst them, because that would have to be the full set of areas included, minimum. And 1, 2, 3, 5 adds up to 11. And this would be a 34 or less. So that's not in them. So one of these is on the line. And one of them is being counted. At least one of these two is being counted in the sum of 10. Could it possibly be 4 cells being... Now we have to remember the bishop's move alternation. If this is on the crust, it's 1, 2, 3 or 4. If this was on the crust, it's at least a 6, and that's at least a 4, and when we added in that cell, no good. So the crust is not here. Oh, that's weird. Could it be there? And be a low digit, and these 4 be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the answer is no, because if this is on... Oh, if this one... This can't be crust. If this is... I'm alternating down from that. This is a high digit if it's on the line. It's at least a 6. If that was on the line, that's at least a 6. That's at least a 4. And the crust this end would be at least a 1. And we'd have a number below 35. So that is not on the line. This is the crust on the right side. And we're adding in that cell. So we're adding up at least those 3. Well, no, at least this one as well, because we haven't got a crust on the left yet. So they've got to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And I think we are going to find that these two positions are acceptable as low digits on the diagonal from there, and this one is sort of diagonaling to a low. Yes. Wow, that's weird. Okay, good. 6, 7, 8, 9 still to place in that row. We get rid of 4 in the column. Now, yes, the line doesn't go here, and we can blue in that one. This line goes straight through this gap. Now we've got a 22 clue here, and yeah, hang on, that's good. This is good again. This line, just like over the other side, it either turns there or it turns at the top. This line either turns here or it turns at the bottom. When all's said and done, the only possible cells that we could be counting as outies or crusts in this column are in these 4 cells. Now, these have to add up to 45 minus 22, whichever ones of them we're counting. And that depends where the line goes to. So they have to add up to 23. That could be 3 cells, but only if 2 of them could be high, because the 3 cells would have to be 9, 8, 6. To be 3 cells, oh no, this would be low if it was a crust. That's fine. If this was a crust, it would be high. Oh no, okay, what I'm saying is we are using all 4 cells. Sorry, I forgot my own message. Unless we can have 2 high crusts. They would be there and there. Those could be high digits. But that's not right, because then we would be adding these. Yeah, okay, I hope I'm explaining this. I'm probably not. For this to be on the line, or this one, at all, for them to be on the line at all, oh, and this one is, so that is 7, 8, or 9. This one, if it was on the line, would be 7, 8, or 9 as well. Now, which is the last crust? I don't even know what I'm saying now. I'm confusing myself quite badly. These are not the only 4 cells that we could be adding. Let's forget that. Sorry, I've just, my mind has exploded with something. No, but it's right. No, maybe not. It's right. Yes, no, I am right. I am right. My mind has not exploded. My mind is doing fine. It's my brain that's not keeping up with my mind. These digits, because this line either turns there or there, these are the only 2 possible digits, cells that we could be adding. Because this line has reached down to there, these are the only 2 possible cells. To avoid having all 4 cells, I'm going back to that colouring, to avoid having all 4 cells in the 22 sum, which we might well have, but if we didn't, we would only have 3. They would have to be the digits 9, 8, and 6. And the 2 crusts would therefore have to both be high, but the only place here where the 2 crusts could be high are those 2. And then we'd be adding 4 cells because we'd have 2 outies. So we are definitely adding these 4 yellow cells to get the total of 23, which is 45 minus 22. Now, what does that mean? That means one of these 2 is a crust. No, it doesn't. It means that is the crust up here. That's what it means. So that we can add that and this as an outie. So this is where this turns there. And this turns here because we have to add the bottom cell as an outie. And now these 4 yellow cells have to add to 22. And these ones add up to somewhere between 15 and 17. These others add up to somewhere between 5 and 7. And I can't fill them in. Right, let's carry on with Sudoku. That is 1, 2, or 3, or with German Whisper technology. That is 1, 2, or 3 because it can't be a position where 4 could go. Not once the line has come from there. Then I don't know where this line goes. It can go to either place. This one is also not a position where 4 can go, and it sees 2 and 3, and it's low, and it's a 1. There's our first digit on the line. Now this can't be 1. oh, wait, we've got 13 in the bottom row. That is going to be a very similar situation to this 17 in column 1. 2 digits could add up to 13 if they were a 4 and a 9. Where, yeah, but think about where the low digits could be on the bishop cell here, there or there. This one couldn't be a 4 in that situation because it would have to have neighbours of 9 and 9 there, and that would break the line. This one just about could. No, it can't. It can't. You can't use 4 and 9 in this 13 total because 4 has to be a turning cell, but we're obviously adding only one visit to the bottom row and not the turning cells in that, not the corner cells. So we are adding 3 cells. It can't be more than, it can't be 4 or more. We worked that out for 17, so it certainly applies for 13. So we're adding 3 cells. We've got a 5-cell chunk, and I think it's that 5-cell chunk so that we can have 2 lows and a high. If you were trying, yeah, if you did 2 highs and a low, you'd get 2 highs, 6 and 7. So it is that 5-cell chunk. We're adding these 3 cells to make the 13. These have gone blue. Everything's blue down here. They're blue. This must turn because it's only these 3 cells we're adding. They make 13, and these are low. 1, 2, or 3 there. 7, 8, or 9 here. Obviously, well, 7 won't work because they would have to be a 1 and a 2 for the Sudoku. Oh yeah, over here we were doing high, low, high. That's weird. I was thinking we had the same situation. We don't. We have low, high, low here. So if that's a 9, that's a 3, 1 pair. If that's an 8, that's a 3, 2 pair. Oh, that's crazy. Just as we had to have 7 here, we have to have 3 here. Now, this is high and it's touching 2 or 3. So 7, 8, or 9. This is higher. I'm not ruling out 6 for once. I am from this cell, which is low. This can't be a 4. I still don't know whether we connect there or there. That is a quad of 6, 7, 8, 9. That digit is also in a quad of 6, 7, 8, 9. They share those 3, so this one is the same as that one. 4 and 5 have to be in these cells. Oh, well, actually, these cells are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, that's... And they can't have 3 because we know 3 is down here. Here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple. And these other digits are from 6, 7, 8, 9. And we've got a quintuple of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. And in fact, 5's in one of those cells in box 8. So that's not 5. And this is 5 in the corner. This is from 1, 2, 3 here. It will not 3 because that's in one of those. That's blue because the line can't go there. It can go to one of these. Okay, where does the top line go? I don't think the line can go into these cells because it couldn't get out and do alternation between high and low. So I'm cutting those out of the line. These 2 have been cut out for a while, but the line could turn up into row 1. In fact, look, it doesn't go here because this sees 1 and a 2, 3 pair already. To be low, this would have to be 4, but that's not a position for 4 coming from there, so that's off the line. The line then goes up through here. That's blue. That's blue because we can't end there. This is low, 1, 2, or 3. This is high, 7, 8, or 9. This is low, but I'm not excluding 4 for once. Now, we don't have a clue in the top row. We have a clue here that we haven't looked at, which is adding that cell and at least 2 here. So that one can go blue. That's therefore blue. That goes blue because we must be adding at least 2 cells to get the 15 total of outies and crusts here. So this is going to turn either to there or here to here. And it's not going to turn into this because this would have to be low if it was on the line but it would have to be 4 and it couldn't be there in the box. So that's out, that's out. This is in, this is high, 7, 8 or 9. We've got a triple in the row. Everything else in the row is 4, 5 or 6. That doesn't quite tell me this is off the line yet. This is low, 1, 2, 3. That's all because the line can't turn here. Now it's probably, well, we've still got a bit of work to do on the, actually on a lot of the loopwich clues. Got a 1, 2, 3 triple. Oh, and whichever one of these is a 3 is surrounded by 8, 9. So these are from 4, 6, 7. Also, there's a 1, 2, 3 triple here where the 1 is in one of those cells, and that's not a 1, therefore. And on the line, it can't touch 6. Well, if that's on the line, it's not 6, but it might not be on the line. Now, we've got to still add, minimum there is 15, minimum there is a 4, that's 19. Maximum here is a 3 now. So that is a 2, 3 pair suddenly. It doesn't really do anything in the box, actually. That's strange. But how many degrees of freedom are there in these yellow cells? 15, 19, 21. There's 1 degree of freedom. So this is either a 7, 8 or a 7, 9 pair, and definitely involves a 7. So this can't be 7. In fact, there's only 1 degree of freedom in the minima here. 7, 8 is 15, plus 2 is 17, plus 4 is 19. No, I added it up wrong. So I'm putting 7 back there. No, I'm not, because if that was 7, this would be a 7, 8, 9 triple, 24. What am I adding? I'm doing something wrong. The minima here, 7 and 8, 4 and 2, 21. There's only 1 degree of freedom. Okay, I did it wrong the second time. That must be a 4 now, because there's only 1 degree of freedom on this digit. So that's a 4. We couldn't go up to 6. These include a 7, but that could be 2 or 3. This is not a 4. I'm not getting rid of the yellow colouring yet because I'm still going to have to find that degree of freedom somewhere there. Wait, am I trying to add up to 22 instead of 23? Yes. Numpty. These add up to 23, these yellows. 7 and 8 is 15. Minimum 2 is 17. Minimum 4 is 21. There are 2 degrees of freedom. This can't be a 7, but it could be a 6. Bother. Where does that leave me? There's probably Sudoku a go-go here. I need to spot some triples and stuff. Yes, here's a 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've got 5 looking at that. It's not a 5. I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple in the box. So that's 6. That's not. That's not. This is an 8, 9 pair. Wow, that's big. 6, 7 on the line here means these can't be 3s. That sorts out where 3 is in this bottom row. It's there, surrounded by 8 and 9. Oh, that seems difficult. Yes, that's a 1, 2 pair, so that's 3. Now we can't join to there, so we do join to there. That's bits of the line completed. There's no 3 in those cells, so 3 is placed in this box there. That has to be surrounded by 8 and 9 on the line. And now that is not 8 or 9, this is a 4, 6, 7 triple. Okay, that can't be 7 next to a 3 on the line. One of these two is a 3. 3, 5, 1. Now, this 30 sum. Is that interesting yet? There's a 6 in one of those two cells by Sudoku, and in one of those two, 6, 7, 8, 9. This digit sees, that can't be 3 because it sees that. It sees a 1, 2 pair and 3 and a 7, 8, 9 triple and 6. This is 4 or 5, and this one is a low one, 1, 2 or 3. The rest of that isn't done. 5 is in one of those two. We've got to join up this line here and this one somewhere. I don't know how that joins. Could go through there still. Okay, this is high. Could be a 6 in this position. Right, why have I got, I've got 7 marked there because one of them is going to be a 7. Still I haven't sorted this out, and there's this 30 clip. Actually, I haven't done these. Oh, this one may be doable now. No, those add to 10. That works either way. These two are going to be the same by Sudoku. Doesn't really help. 7 is in one of those cells in box, what's it, box 9. So that's not a 7. Doesn't really prove anything about 7 in the top box. That's become 8 or 9. That doesn't fix the minima here, because that could still be a 7, 8 pair. 7, 8, 4 and 2 add up to 21, but we're looking for 23, not 22 as a total of those yellows. Right, come on, we're doing well. We just need to keep progressing. 5, 4, I don't know what any of these are. 40 clues done, the 35 clues done, the 13 clues done when we make that pair add up to 10. We haven't dealt with this at all, but I don't think anything has changed there. So let's think about the 30 clue. We've got 3 down here. We've got to have 12 up top. Is that 4 cells? That couldn't be 1, 2, 3, 6. Could they be 1, 2, 4, 5? No, because this would be on the line and would be meant to be high. So it's not 4 cells. Are we adding 3 cells or 2 cells? If we were adding 2 cells, this is the crust. That's got to be a 6. That's got to be a 1. To add up to 12, that would be 5. We would have 5, 6, 1 there. If this is the first crust cell, no, hang on. Yeah, that's 5, 6, 1. That's if this is the first crust cell. If this is the first crust cell, why do I think... No. If this is the first crust cell, that's nonsense. That would be a 6. We'd only be adding 3 cells. That would have to be another 6. This is not a crust cell. That's what I thought. This is a crust cell. 6, no, it's not. It's on the line. This is now the crust cell and is low. 1 or 2. I'm going to leave 4 as a possibility for now. These 3 now do add up to 12. Yeah, I was adding the wrong ones before. They could be 5, 6, 1 still, but that's almost irrelevant. They add up to 12, and we've got 1 and 4. That's a maximum 7 and a minimum 2. That's a bit confined in this box, because very tempted to say, where does 7, 8, 9 go? But that could be a 7 if this was a 4 and this was a 1. Does that break anything else? Don't think so. I'm going to just mark these. Those greys have to add to 12. The yellows have to add to 23, and the greys have to add to 12. And can we finish the line here? Have we got a quad of low digits there? Not quite. Very, very nearly. Okay. 6 is in one of those. These see 6, 1, 2, 3. Right, I need to do something more on the whispers, don't I? There's definitely something going on that is probably quite easy to plumb, and I just haven't spotted it. Or is it about the remaining clues? Because I've still got those to sort out as well, and this pair. So the yellow and grey colourings are where I still have to make sums work. I can do a lot of blue, by the way. Oh, not there. Yes, there, because of the... Ah, that's interesting, because of the diagonal rule. No diagonal touching, so that's gone green. And I haven't filled in these digits, 1, 2 or 3, 7, 8 or 9 there. That's a 1, 2, 3 triple, so this is not on the line. That is, because that would have to be 1, 2, 3 as well. This now does have to be 1, 2 or 3, and we've got triples in both columns. That must be useful for something. One of those has to be a 3 because neither of those is. Yeah, that's quite interesting. That stops this being 7, and now I've got an 8, 9 pair in this column and a 1, 2, 3 triple. Everything else is from 4, 5, 6, 7. Useless. But I finished the line in this column. I'd want that to help. One of these two is a 3 in the column. Yeah, so that's 8 or 9. Oh, goodness. I mean, it's so nearly all coming together, but not quite. 5 in box 3 is still in one of those two. It's been there for a while. And in box 6 in one of those two. And we've got to join. Now, is this ruled out? The place 6 would be in the row would have to be there if that was in. Then this would be 1. I just don't know. These add up to 12. 7, 4, 1 is possible. Oh, bobbins. I don't know what to do now. I've made great progress. I'm getting a heart-shaped line. That's nice. But I don't know how to complete it. Let's get rid of the white for no reason at all other than it's bugging me. Okay, there's got to be some triple going on that's going to make this straightforward. That 1 or 2 is the same as that one and appears in... Maybe we need to colour digits against each other. Okay, let's get rid of all the yellow and grey. Just try and remember where that's going so that I can colour cells against each other. Yeah, this is going to be worth doing because that digit, let's give it a red flash, is the same as that one in this quadruple. So it's that digit. So this is the other of 8, 9, and there it is over there. Is that going to do anything? Maybe it's not. Oh, look, where does this digit go in box 2? It's got to be there. That's very peculiar, but it's definitely true. Now, where does it go in box 1 on the 7, 8, 9 triple? It's there, not a 7. Ah, this is interesting. This is interesting now. Where does it go in box 3? Definitely there. So that's part of a 7, 8, 9 triple, and this is a 6. That's brilliant. That's a 7. That's 2. That's 1. That's 2. We might get quite a bit of Sudoku done now. That's now a 1. It sees 3 and 2. Oh, that was epic. What a lovely move in the puzzle. This is now a 3, so surrounded by 8 and 9, and that's a 7. I can colour this one yellow and this one red. And this is now a 7. It sees both 8 and 9, so it's surrounded by 1, 2. That is not a 3. This sort of thing might be worth. This is not 3 or 4. That's a 1, 2 pair, so that's 3. This now isn't 2 or 3. That might do something to this 12 total, but we'll come back to that. 6, 7, that's not 7, nor's that. They're a 4, 5 pair. This is 8 or 9 and gets a colour. Its colour is yellow. This is a 4, 5, 6 triple, so that's 7. That could be on the line. We don't, oh no, we do know, because we've got a 1, 2 pair. That's a 3, and we can't turn into the 7 now. We've got to go down here and down here, where we've got to have a bigger number, 8 or 9, let's say 6, 7, 8 or 9 there. That 8 or 9 gets a colour. The colour is yellow. This is not 8 or 9 now, nor is this. This is, and is yellow. Might have all the yellows done nearly. Ooh, that's probably yellow. Yes, it is in this box. And that is going to have to be yellow in this column. So that's red. That's red. Yes, it is. That's an 8, 9 pair. That's all the reds and all the yellows done. I haven't actually disambiguated them, but I've found them peculiarly. This digit is a 4 or 5 now. And in the column, that is 4, 5 or 6. There's a 7 in one of those, so that's not 7. Wow. Wow, this puzzle's amazing. That 7 is looking down here, 6. That fixes 6 up at the top. Now I'm going to have to colour 4 5s in a moment. I'm not doing it yet, just in case I don't have to. But there is a good chance I will have to. Because it's the, oh no, these had to add up to 12. Well, it's now either 4 2 or 5 1. What about these? They add up to 10 R. These have to add up to 10. That's still not resolved. And there was one other. These 4 had to add up to 23. Bingo. Okay, that's where we attack. 9 and 4. And now we know that red is 9. So let's just hit all the reds at once. They're all 9. And we'll hit all the yellows at once. All the yellows are 8. And then we'll get rid of all the yellow colouring because we don't need it, and all the red colouring because we don't need it, and we'll restore those to green. Here we go. Those 2 are blue. It can't go there, the line. I mean, we're nearly done now, surely. Now we can do these sums. 16 plus 1 is 17. 12 plus 1 is 13. Still can't make that add up to 12, and we've done this one. Okay, but those digits that we got ought to solve some cells. They don't resolve that one, but the 2 looks up there. Then that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2. This is not a 2. That's not a 4, that's a 6, 7 pair, looking up at a 4, 5 pair. We've got 4 looking at those cells, so 5, 6, look, we've done the 4s and 5s now. Thank goodness I didn't have to colour. Not that I mind colouring, it just didn't seem like it was, I can't get rid of a 6 there. Didn't seem like it was going to be necessary. Almost all the line is now painted, is now numbered. Better than painted. That's not 5 and that's not 4. Now we're finishing off. 8 goes there, surrounded by 3 and 4. We know the order thanks to the 3 in column 9. That's a 6 and a 5. This is a very nice puzzle. That's 2 and 7. This is 2 and 4. Along here we have 7, 1, 6. Must be able to finish these. 5, 4, 2. And the central row is 3, 4, 5. So the line is definitely not coming into those cells. They are blue. The line is going through there. That's perfectly legal. And we can finish off our little heart of a loop with a 5 here. Lovely puzzle, Calvin Ball. That really is good. Sudoku was absolutely correct. That Sudoku was full of joy. It's a very clever arrangement. Amazing that that solves with so few clues. Quite a head-wrecking rule with those exterior loop cells, but very good puzzle. I've enjoyed myself a lot today. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.